All right, people, thank you so much for being here today at the CenCal Dreaming session. And we are going to spend the next 30 minutes talking about CRM Analytics. So let me share my screen so that we can talk about the CRM Analytics. Awesome. So let's put the first poll together. How many of you are aware of CRM Analytics? Let's just give that a couple of seconds. Do you know or have you heard of CRM Analytics? Let's keep this interactive if possible. All right, so we have one yes. All right, so that's a good sign. We have few audience. Some of the audience have heard of CRM Analytics. Some of you have not. Well, when you think of CRM Analytics, the first thing that comes to your mind is visualizations and dashboards and reports. But we are going to talk about three use cases that go beyond analytics. So before we do that, I want to introduce myself. So I am Sujay Nadkarni. I am a technical architect at Salesforce. I have 16 Salesforce certifications. I have certifications in CRM Analytics, of course, but I'm also certified in other machine learning platforms such as the Microsoft Azure Machine Learning platform. Analytics data is my passion. I've worked in almost every analytics platform. Think about ClickView, ClickSense, SSRS, SSIS, Tableau, CRM Analytics, and this is really, I feel, the area of expertise or something that I'm really, really passionate about. When I'm not working at Salesforce or not doing trails on Trailheads, I write blogs and I'm also a YouTube content creator. So I started my YouTube journey about a couple of months back when I started to release weekly videos on CRM Analytics. So we'll be diving into some of these demo sessions today. But if you want to look at the long form videos or if you want to get the GitHub code repo, please feel free to check out my YouTube video. And I don't know if you're seeing my screen, but there is a QR code on the screen right now. So if you want to take a picture of that, it will take you directly to my channel so that you can see other CRM Analytics YouTube videos. So I'll keep the screen just for a second. All right, so with that, let's dive in, right? We have three use cases and we have only 30 minutes. So we'll get to this very, very quickly. So what you're going to see today is first is the Salesforce output connector. Okay. The second is we are going to talk about predicting future. We're going to predict future with time series analysis. And the third is machine learning, the buzzword of the century, right? Everybody's talking about machine learning. Everybody's talking about artificial intelligence. And we're going to see how CRM analytics can make all these three things easy for you. So let's start with output connector. But before we do that, can we put the next poll together? Because I'm really, really interested to see how many of you use a tool like Data Loader or run nightly batch updates to update Salesforce records in your Salesforce instance. All right. Fantastic. So most of you have used data loader, some of you have not used data loader, and that is perfectly fine. So for people who have not used data loader, essentially what you do is you extract information from Salesforce. If you're updating records, you might make tweaks on for certain columns and update those records into your Salesforce instance by uploading a spreadsheet. Now we also know that we live in a world where we get data from disparate sources, right? So your organization may have data in Salesforce, in SQL, in ERP systems, in bunch of other systems. Now think of a use case where if you had to update your Salesforce data based on certain values found in other systems. Now, typically you may have to write code to do that. If not code, you may extract data into some CSV and then do bunch of VLOOKUPs to update that information and then upload it into your Salesforce using data loader, mapping fields and all that. So again, it's a lot of manual process, which is where output connector comes into the view. So what is the Salesforce output connector? Firstly, it is no code bulk updates, right? You can use the data preps to create records inside Salesforce, to update records inside Salesforce based on certain conditions. It is built using clicks. Therefore, it is easy to build. It is easy to maintain. It looks almost like a workflow. It almost looks like a logical diagram that you can simply click into, and you can build your data preps that can update your Salesforce records. Now, one thing that we always love is we want to monitor progress. We want to send notifications if something fails, right? As an admin, as a developer, you want to make sure that you are building processes that are optimal. You are building processes, or you are notified when something wrong happens. Now, again, analytics, CRM Analytics has a data monitor in it, so you can actually see how long each step is taking. You can improve the performance, and you can send notifications if it finds any warnings or failures. Now, what we'll do is we'll take a look at a use case. We'll build this as part of the live demo so that you can see this working in front of you. So let's say every organization today wants to understand if a customer is satisfied with the organization or not, right? So a typical way of measuring customer satisfaction would be to send out CSAT surveys, and CSAT surveys might come to your customers through an email. But we know some of those emails are ignored. Some of the emails go in spam box. So your leadership has identified an intelligent way of scoring accounts. So what they think is, well, we are going to look at an account, and if an account has more than 10 opportunities, we are going to assign it a score of 5 because this customer likes us, they are opening multiple opportunities with us, and they want to keep growing business with us. Similarly, they also want to look at number of cases, because number of cases means the customer is not happy with its product, they are troubleshooting products, and so on. So what they say is, well, if a customer has more than 10 cases, the customer is certainly not happy. So we are going to assign a score of 0. But if a customer has very few open cases between 0 and 5, then we are going to assign a score of 5. The final score for an account would be an average of opportunity and case score. So your ideal score would be an account which has more than 10 opportunities, and an account that has very few cases between 0 and 5. And you want to make sure that you update these accounts on a daily basis so that your sales reps can create list views, your sales reps can create reports, and so on, right? So how do we do that? Well, we are now going to jump into a live demo, and we are going to build this together. So the first thing that I've done is I have logged in to my Salesforce instance. And once I log into my Salesforce instance, I can simply type in Analytics Studio, which takes me to the CRM Analytics platform. Now, once I'm inside Analytics Studio, we are not building reports and dashboards. We are actually going to the back end of reports and dashboards. So we are going to click on Data Manager. And once we click on Data Manager, this is the section where I can see what has failed, what has succeeded. This is essentially the jobs monitor function, but we want to build a recipe. We want to bring data from 3 different data sources, which is accounts, opportunities, and cases, and we want to build that logic using recipes. So I'm going to click on recipe, and I am going to click on new recipe. Now, once I click on new recipe, I get this canvas, and recipe says, well, can you add input data, which we are going to do now. So add input data, and I am going to select account. Once I hit account, I don't think it was selected. Okay. Once I hit accounts, it is going to select all the columns for me. We only want to keep the columns that we need. So I'm going to unselect all of them, and I'm only going to keep the account ID. I'm going to click on next, and I'm going to repeat the same process, and I am going to bring opportunities. Let's click opportunities. Remove all the columns. Now here I want opportunity ID, and I want the account ID. Third, we want case information. So I'm going to get cases. So let's click on cases here, and remove all the fields, have case ID, and I want account ID. Let's make sure. Okay, awesome. Now we brought in these three data sets or three information from these three objects. But if you remember, we need to join these data sets together because I want all the information to be consolidated at an account level. So first I'm going to start joining the accounts with opportunities. It's as simple as dragging and dropping this here, and it's going to give me few options. Do I want to join, append, or update? I want to join this information so that I can consolidate information. So I'm going to click on join, and I'm going to select the correct field. So this is essentially like your VLOOKUPs. So I'm going to select account ID. Once I do account ID, it's going to identify. So as you can see, these are account IDs, and for this account ID, these are the opportunities. So I'm going to hit apply, and then I want to aggregate information because again, I want the number of opportunities, count of opportunities at an account level. So I'm going to click on aggregate. What do I want to aggregate? I want count of opportunity IDs, and I want to group it by my account ID. Fantastic. So once I do that, as you can see, this particular account has 24 opportunities, this account has 3 opportunities, and so on. So hit apply. I'm going to do the same thing with cases. So drag and drop it here. Drag and drop it on case. Oops. Join, and account ID, it has already detected. So I'm going to simply click on apply. Next, I'm going to aggregate this just like we did for the prior step. So aggregates, I'm going to hit count of case ID, and I'm going to group this by my account ID. Awesome. So again, this account ID has 81 cases. So we most likely this customer is perhaps not happy with our products. So okay, now we started with 3. Now we have come to 2 different data sets. Let's try to bring this into one single data set. So again, I'm going to go here, drag and drop it, click on join, and hit apply. Awesome. So let's quickly preview this information. So what do we have here? We have account ID. For this particular account, I have 81 cases and I have 12 opportunities. Now, there are certain columns that we don't require. For example, I don't need account IDs to be listed twice. So now we are going to transform the data. In this step, we are going to remove the columns that we don't require. And then we are going to add the logic of this, right? Scoring the opportunities and scoring the accounts based on the number of opportunities and the number of cases. So let's do that. And let's go here and let me hit transform. And now what I'm going to do is I don't need this column. So I'm going to simply click on this particular column and I'm going to hit this button and this column gets dropped. Now we are going to create 2 more functions for case score and for opportunity score. I will not be going through each of these scenarios just because we don't have enough time. So I'll take a look at maybe 1 or 2 scenarios. But the point is to show you how easy it is to write formula in CRM Analytics. So first is going to click on this. This is very similar to what you see in Excel. So I'm going to click on custom formula. And we want to write an if-else statement, which is also called a case statement. So I'm going to hit case. And once I hit plus, CRM Analytics is going to write the boiler code for us. So I don't even have to type, which is fantastic. I love that. This brings efficiency. I'm going to remove this. Now, what is the condition? What I want is if the number of cases is if number of cases greater than 10, I want to assign it a score of 0. If it is less than 10, I want to assign it a score of 5. Okay. I know the column. So I'm going to simply go here and hit plus and then only say this greater than 10 is 0, else it is the default expression is 5. Awesome. All right. It's a numeric field. So I'm going to give it a number. Let's call it case score. case score. Apply. And as you can see, a new column has been selected. And we can verify this very quickly. 81 greater than 10 has a case score of 0. 3 less than 10 has a case score of 5. So let's do this again for opportunity. Very simple again. I'm going to click here, custom formula. I'm going to simply type in case plus, it's going to write boiler code for me. I'm going to remove this information. Condition we know. This time I'm going to select the count of opportunity ID. This is going to be, if it is greater than 10, it's a happy customer. So I'm going to give that a score of 5. Else, it's going to be 0. It's again going to be numeric. And let's call it op score, apply. All right, so we are getting some information here. Now, if you remember, the final score is average of opportunity score and case score. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another column, which is going to be average of case score and opportunity score. So as you can guess, I'm going to click here, hit custom formula. I'm going to go on columns. I'm going to hit case score plus op score. And I'm going to divide this by 2. Now I want to round it off. I don't really care about 2.5s or 1.25 and things like that. If it is 2.5, I want a score of 3. So what I'm going to do is when I click on numeric, it asks me for scale. If I add a scale of 2, it's going to show me decimals. I don't want a scale, so I'm going to keep it 0. Then I'm going to call it account score. Fantastic. So let's quickly validate our results. So 0 plus 5 is 5 divided by 2 is 2.5 rounded off to 3. 5 plus 5 is 10 divided by 2 is 5. So it looks like our formula is working perfectly. Now we don't need all these columns. All we really need is we want to update the account score on the account IDs. There is a custom field that does that. So I can remove all these columns. Now, just like we did in step 1, I'm going to select all these columns and I'm going to drop it and hit apply. And I have the perfect format to update information in Salesforce. I have the account ID and I have the account score. Now comes the final step. So if I go here and I click on output, by default, the first step is always going to be write to a data set, because most often users are going to create a data set that will be used for visualization for reports and dashboards. What we want is an output connection. So I'm going to create an output connection. I'm going to click output connector and I'll get to how you can create this connection. We know we want to update account. So I'm going to click on account. It's going to be an update. As you can see, I have insert, update and upsert. I can click on update and account score. I think it's called, let's type score, customer satisfaction score, and I can click on apply. Now, the best part is I can click on save and run. It's going to, once the recipe finishes running, it's going to update the account with this score. Not just that, if this is a logic that you are going to build every single day, you can actually schedule this to run every single morning or multiple times a day. And this will completely automate your batch updates, your anything that you do in Excel. So it's a really powerful tool. Now, like I said, I told you how to create output connections. So we are going to go to the data manager, and in the data manager, you will see connections. So simply go on connections. And if you click on new connection, CRM Analytics comes with hosts of connections, right? There's, Salesforce connector, Heroku, Amazon, and so on. What we want is output. So I'm going to click on output and I'm going to click on the Salesforce output connector, click on next. This is where you give it a connection name, you give a developer name, a description, your username and password for the org where you want to update, and you simply click on save and test. And as long as all the information matches, you have created an output connection that you can use to update your records inside your Salesforce instance. All right, so I hope you found this helpful. I'm going to move to the next one because we are pressed for time. All right, so The second thing that we're going to talk about, predicting future with time series. So could we have the final poll of the day? All right. So do you ever wish you could predict the future? I wish it all the time. I'm curious how you guys feel. All right. So looks like everybody wants to predict the future, and future is important, particularly in business, because the business may want to understand how many opportunities it is going to win, what is the amount it is going to bring in the coming quarters, how are they trending against quota, and so on. And that's where time series becomes incredibly important. So, what is time series projection? Now, you can project future using clicks, right? You, as leaders of the organization, sales leaders, you want to make decisions based on forecast tomorrow, right? And typically in an organization, uh, the forecast is very dependent on what a sales rep enters in your system. uh, what leaders really want to understand is how can they get beyond manual errors or someone forgetting to enter information and so on, and actually intelligently forecast data even when you have missing data. And that's where time series projection becomes incredibly powerful, because all you need is data by time period. Okay. And again, this is completely built using data preps. So again, very similar to what we saw with output connectors. You can see exactly how long each step tech takes. You can make modifications, you can send notifications upon warnings or failures. So uh, time for a live demo. uh, for live demo, what I've done is I use this website called kaggle.com. It's a fantastic website. If you are ever looking for data sets, something to visualize, run machine learning algorithms, things like that, Kaggle is fantastic because it has computations, it has data sets, and so on. And on this, I found a very interesting data set called the gold price prediction data set. And that's what we are going to use today, because we're going to look at the historical prices of gold, and we are going to see if CRM Analytics can actually predict what's going to happen in future, right? So maybe we can predict what's going to happen in future and also get rich. All right. So I'm going to go to, let's go to data manager. We don't need this. So I'm going to go to, yes. Okay. Okay. Recipes. All right. So we are going to create a new recipe, and I'm going to again add an input data, which is I've already downloaded this data, I've already uploaded it. So I am going to select the time series gold price prediction, and I will give you a quick preview of what this data set looks like. So let's click on next. Now, when I click on this particular icon, it's going to give me a few rows so that I can see what the data is. And it's a very simple data. What this data is telling me is on 31st of January 1990, this was the price of gold in Egypt, in Thailand, India, Europe, Switzerland, and so on, right? Uh, End of month, going back 1990, and I believe the data goes until July of 2021. Okay, and what we really want to do is we want to predict what would be the price of gold, let's say in the month of August 2021, September 2021, and October 2021. And I, this data is fantastic because I don't have to write any code in R, Python. All I'm building a completely machine learning algorithm, a simple machine learning algorithm using clicks. So we want to transform this data. So I'm going to click on this plus sign, and I am going to click on transform. Now, once I click on transform, I see this icon, time series forecasting. So I'm going to click on time series forecasting, and the column I want to forecast is I want to forecast the price of gold in United States. Okay. And I'm going to click on done. I want to group this information by date, which is uh, year and month. Okay. And this is going to be date. I think it's year, month, and day. Okay. Add. Now it's going to ask me uh, how many months in future do I want to forecast the price of gold. So let's say we want to predict the price of gold for the next 3 months. So I'm going to simply drag this, let's do 6 months actually, and click apply. Now I also have more options. So sometimes your time series may have forecasting. So for example, ice cream is a great example, right? You can almost expect that the sales of your ice cream is going to increase during summers and then decrease during winters. So that is a seasonal pattern that you would see with ice cream sales. So I don't know actually if there is seasonality with gold or not. So I'm going to simply click auto. Now once I do that, time series is going to look at the patterns. If it finds seasonality, it's going to make modifications to its model. Same with model. There are different models: multiplicative, additive. I have no idea which model to use. Someone gave me this data, so I'm going to simply run it. So I'm going to select auto and let Salesforce take care of us. Okay, and I'm going to click on apply, and it's going to run the time series forecasting here. It just takes a couple of minutes. So I'll show you how the output result looks like. So if I go back to CRM Analytics, and this is the price prediction that I already ran. If I do this, let's go to compare table and go to sum. I'm going to select, this is the sum of United States price. This is the forecasted price, and I'm going to group this by date, year, and month. Okay, so this was the actual price. This is what the time series forecasted. Now let's scroll to the bottom, because that is where we start to see some information. So the data is available only till July of 2021. In July of 2021, the price of gold was 1825. Uh, the model was trying to fit to the actual data. So the price here was 1822.9. But based on the historical patterns, based on the trends, what time series has predicted is in the month of August, the price is going to be 1830.9. The month of September, 1817, 1823, and so on. Just for fun, let's go on Google and figure out what the price of gold was in the month of August 2021. So I'm going to hit search in August 2021. So the price of gold was 1818, 1558, and I believe the prediction it made was 1830, which is pretty close. I would say this is like 99% accurate accuracy with respect to the gold price. So again, this becomes incredibly powerful. Some of the use cases that you can do is, let's say if you have an organization where you have last 2 years of data for opportunities, and your leadership comes and says, we don't have we don't have a data science team, but all I would love to know is how are we trending, what's going to happen 3 months from now, or what's going to happen 6 months from now. You can simply create a data set which says opportunities won in the last 2 years, and exactly how we did. You simply hit transform, apply time series model to it, and forecast for the next 3 to 6 months, and make it available through visualization or through dashboard, so that your leadership knows what is going to happen in the next 2 to 3 months. So very, very powerful feature that I highly recommend everyone should start using. All right, we are almost at the end of time. I have only 10 more minutes, but I want to walk you through the most exciting feature uh, of CRM Analytics, which is the machine learning aspect. Like I said, machine learning is the buzzword. Everybody's talking about machine learning. If you go on Coursera, Udemy, Udacity, any website, you will find data science, data visualization, machine learning. These are the courses that everybody is enrolling for, right? Now, Einstein Discovery, where it becomes powerful, is it is a no-code machine learning platform. If you are thinking about, hey, should I learn R or Python? Well, if you know basics of machine learning, Einstein Discovery works great, right? Even if you have a data science team, you can port their models into Einstein Discovery, but really the power lies with no-code machine learning. All you need to know is, few basic concepts of machine learning, and you are good to go. Now, the biggest challenge for any machine learning, any data science team is operationalizing your machine learning algorithms. Your data science teams can run the machine learning algorithms, they can generate predictions, but they cannot surface insights easily without writing external code, APIs, and so on. uh, this provides users with the ability to take action. So you can actually surface insights to your end users on the record page so that they can actually act upon it. And the best piece is you can integrate predictions. So you can actually run discovery, but you can integrate those predictions inside your flow, inside your data set, so that it's, your users can act upon it and it becomes part of their daily lives. Awesome. So you're probably wondering, hey, but time series was also machine learning. Where is Einstein discovery and how is it different? Well, Einstein discovery is different because Einstein discovery looks at the data to see what has happened. It also looks at why something happened. So it looks at insights which time series analysis does not do. It only looks at what has happened and will tell you what is likely to happen. Einstein discovery also takes one step uh, towards prescriptive and analytics and actually tells you, well, I know what has happened, I know why it happened, I know what is likely to happen, but as a sales rep, I want to know what should I do about it, right? If I'm on an account and I see that the customer is going to churn, tell me what should I do about it so that I don't lose this account. If I know that if I can find out which leads or opportunities should I focus on, that will be great so that I can hit my quota, so that I can hit my numbers. And that's where Einstein discovery becomes incredibly powerful. Now again, as promised, we are going to go into a live demo. Einstein discovery is a massive product. There are so many amazing features of Einstein discovery, but since we only have about 5 to 10 minutes, I want to quickly show you how easy it is to spin up an Einstein discovery and how easy it is to deploy a model. We are not going to talk about statistics. We are not going to talk about how to measure model accuracy and so on. There's an entire video on my YouTube channel if you want to take a look at that. But as promised, I'm going to go into CRM Analytics. I'm going to click on Analytics Studio, and I have this opportunities data set here. So I'm going to simply click on opportunities data set, and let's say I want to understand how I can maximize revenue for opportunities that I've won in past. So I can simply go here and I can say sum of uh, amount. Actually, I don't even have to do that, but uh, let's click filters. Let's apply stage name equal to closed one. All right, so now I have a data set, and hold on. Okay, so I've done this, and now all I have to do is click on this button, which is create story. So once I create story, Einstein Analytics is going to give me this screen. Apologies for my dog. All right, so it's going to give me the screen and it asks me, hey, what do you want to analyze? So I'm going to simply go here and I say, I want to analyze amount. And remember, I want to win more. I want to maximize my amount. So I'm going to hit maximize amount. If I was using customer churn, I want to minimize customer churn. But in this case, it's maximize. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to click on next. And now this is where it starts to get interesting. If you only want to see insights, you can simply click on insights. If you want to see insights and predictions, you can click on insights and predictions, which is what we're going to do now. So I'm going to click on insights and prediction, click on next. And now Salesforce will ask you, well, do you want Salesforce to make all the decisions, right? Choosing the columns, applying certain transformations, or do you want to do a have a little more manual control over this? I want to dive into manual because I want to show you some of the features of Einstein discovery. So let's click on manual. Let's click on next. Now, hold on 1 second. All right. So once I do that, as you can see, I have 64 columns. I only have 51 columns that I can choose. So I have now finer control on what columns to choose. So I'm going to go here and maybe I can remove certain columns. So let's say I remove last activity date and so on. Okay. So let's uncheck this. Fantastic. It's also giving me certain recommendations. So it's giving me suggested buckets, so I can apply suggested buckets. It's also telling me there is high frequency values, there's missing values. Now, if I click on missing values, I can simply go here and I have a bunch of transformation that is available. So I can do fuzzy matching. I can do detect sentiment, text clustering, replace missing values, and so on. And finally, once I'm happy with this particular user story, I can click on create story. So let's do that. Actually, I have already created one. So I'm so sorry, guys. This is what happens when you work from home and you have a dog who's unhappy with another person walking their dogs outside. All right, so this is the story that I created. So another feature of Einstein discovery is when you run discovery models or when you run machine learning algorithm as a data scientist, you are never going to find clean data. Clean data is a myth. You will have to do bunch of transformations. You will have to clean code, which is where Einstein discovery becomes incredibly powerful, because once you simply run discovery, Einstein discovery will actually tell you, hey, maybe here are things that you can improve with respect to data. So as you can see, my data was not clean, but it has 47 alerts that can help me to improve my model. So I can simply click on review alerts. Let's scroll to the bottom, and it tells me, hey, account owner dot user manager has missing values. So simply, I can choose to ignore this alert, replace missing values, and so on. And then finally, I can go to model and I can deploy model, get started, and I can deploy this as a new model. Click on next, and I can select an object. So let's say I want to show this on opportunity. So I can simply click opportunity, click on next, and then I can map these fields, click on next, next. I can add some actionable variables so that your sales rep can actually change certain things so that their probability of winning amount increases. Click on next, and that's it. You hit deploy, and the prediction card should be available to your sales rep. All right, we are in the final 3 minutes. So I am quickly going to go and finish out the last slide. So there are certain resources, like I said, unfortunately, I could not get into the depth of every demo, but if you want to build with me, if you want to build these solutions, here are QR codes. So please feel free to scan them. It will take you directly to these videos and you can actually start building the solutions along with me. Of course, Trailhead has fantastic resources. If you want to learn CRM Analytics, salesforceblogger.com is something that I highly recommend. With that, I really appreciate your time today learning about CRM Analytics. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to me by email, and I will be absolutely happy to assist you with any of your CRM Analytics query or Salesforce queries. Thank you so much and have a fantastic day today.